Oh, just letting you know what happened today when I went to the mall, the Florida Mall, and this had been set up by a senior customer relations advisor. He had called the Florida Mall, and he got the information from a advanced technical advisor who is above a regular tech. Had taken logs from my phone and send them to engineering. Every time the phone acted up, they wanted me to take a screenshot. Sent probably 25 files over there. And then the last day that they collected logs, the camera would not take a screenshot. So what was going on with this iPhone XS Max for the last 4.5 weeks have been, the phone won't ring half the time. It wouldn't it kept telling you that it wanted your location, like you didn't have your location enabled. It was wanting you to hit a secondary button for your speaker if you want to put somebody on speaker. Like I said, the camera problem, the facial recognition problem. So when it wouldn't take screenshots, they decided that they would gather all the logs that day and send them over to engineering, and would let me know in a few days. Well, Saturday, the guy that had been working with me, Thomas, had emailed me and said he had some good news, that engineering was pretty sure that this was a hardware failure. Well, I kind of realized that after about 5 things happened to this phone over a short period of time. And so they decided to connect me with customer relations, because Thomas could no longer be involved in it. He could just brief them on what was going on, and then they would have to take over. So the engineering department and customer relations, a senior advisor of customer relations, took the case over, called the Florida Mall, and set this up. Went down to the Florida Mall today, and actually, for the first time in a long time of visiting one of their stores, I didn't have a problem. Everything worked smooth, and they replaced the phone. So sitting there probably about 15-20 minutes. A couple of nice gentlemen came over. One was an assistant manager, and told the young man that was working with me to go ahead and replace the phone, override everything, do not send the phone back, and then checked out my phone, made sure nothing was wrong with it, and gave me another phone, and off I went. Kind of felt like Apple that I dealt with a few years ago, when they would kind of bend over backwards to make sure you were taken care of. But over the last few years, they've not been that company. Not the company Steve Jobs built, who wanted you to have a quality product and have a good experience. They become more about money. And hard to deal with. You get some of these people on the phone who are just downright rude, and I've had a couple bad experiences at the Mall of Millennium in Altamont Springs. So today was finally, after going multiple times to their stores, which is anywhere from 150 to 170 miles away, round trip. Finally got something done, and I have this phone. I haven't even taken out of the plastic wrapping because I don't know what I want to do with it. Do I want to keep it, or do I want to sell it? Because I'm not really impressed with facial recognition. I don't believe it's as good or as accurate as a fingerprint reader, which worked if your hands were clean and not wet. It worked 99% of the time. And let's face it, we're not going to handle our phones, not $1,000 phones, with greasy, dirty hands and wet hands. So the odds were that when you used it, it was going to work. Facial recognition, they even admitted, on its best day, you might have a time or two where it doesn't work. Well, mine was like multiple times a day, 5-6 times a day. Not every day, but 3 or 4 days out of the week it would do that. Then also too, one thing I forgot to tell you, it wouldn't ring half the time. I'd look over and I'd have missed calls and the phone sitting right next to me. So the phone had multiple issues, and I think that's why they came to that conclusion. But they also would give you a hard time, and I think it kind of got a little nudge from them when I started writing to the Better Business Bureau, Consumer Affairs, Federal Trade Commission, other government agencies, because then I started getting calls from them, and they wanted to try and work at this one more time. And that's when they sent me over to the Advanced Technical Department. And from there on, it was a pretty good experience with them, because they went ahead and took care of everything and got the phone replaced. Still not happy with the way this all went out. This was handled. They want you to buy their expensive products that are more than anybody else's, and they also claim that they're better than everybody else's, and they make more profit than anybody, so they should be held at a higher standard than most companies, probably all companies. They puff their chest out at their keynotes about that their devices are way ahead and better than everybody else's. Well, if they are, then people shouldn't have as much problems as they have. Just like, for instance, looking at the new iPad, the way the guy folded it over like a piece of paper and just shattered it because it had 2 weak points. They should have learned that lesson from the iPhone 6 when they had to redesign the enclosure and add nickel to the aluminum to make it stronger. It's probably what they're going to end up doing with that. But what was comical was that they told you if you got one that was bent brand new out of the box, that wouldn't affect the way it worked, or it wouldn't hurt the performance. Who wants to pay $1,200 for an item that's bent out of the box? Steve Jobs would have fired whoever came out with that statement. He would have got his ass kicked to the curb. So, it seems like they settle now. If things aren't quite right, it's no big deal. And they always seem to be a step behind everybody lately. There's already companies that are ahead of them with fingerprint readers under the glass. Maybe they're not out yet, but they're ahead of them. 5G, they say it's going to be a year and a half before they come out with that. They'll be behind on that. Well, hold on a second. Oh, sorry, the picture went out, but so like I said, it's not the same company that Steve Jobs built. It's more about money. So don't know really what I want to do with this phone. Like I said, it's still in the plastic wrapper. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to pay AT&T off? Go back to an older phone that I didn't have any problems with. I think I only had one or two problems from the first iPhone I had, a 3 up to a 6S. The 7 on have been problems. So all electronic companies have problems. Samsung, Sony, all of them do. But Apple probably has one of the best facilities and R&D departments in the world. You don't expect this from them. And like I said, if Steve was still here, you wouldn't be getting the products that you're getting now that are basically the same with just a few tweaks under the hood. So it's been kind of a pretty bad experience with them. But people should not let them walk all over them and talk to them and treat them the way I have. Use the government on your side. Keep calling them. Eventually they'll get tired of it, and they'll either do something, or could be a possibility they don't do anything. So fortunately I did have a few good people working with me and help me out. That wasn't the case with my iPhone 10. Ended up costing me, and all losses all total, with the buy one get one free that I lost, and money I paid in on the phone, I probably lost close to $1,000. Trips and stuff like that, and you add everything up. But they don't care about that. Companies, once they get your money, they don't really care. Customer service goes out the window. Apple used to have the best. They were always ranked one of the best. Not anymore. So my advice to you is, if you have a problem, keep on them. You might get the right person, and they'll work with you. And that's what happened with me. So, just keep at it, and don't let them get the best of you. And like I said, you're either going to win or you're going to lose, and you're going to, you still have a good chance of, if you stay with it, that something's going to happen. But you really shouldn't have to fight them this hard for an expensive product to get replaced. So, today was a good day. If I keep the phone, we'll see how it works. I still don't believe they have facial recognition figured out, because they worked on it for 2 years, and from what I understand, the engineers told them before they even released it, it still wasn't ready. I still think they have glitches with it. So we'll see. I'll have two choices: keep it or get rid of it. But that's pretty much my experience today. Went out better than I thought it would. But that still doesn't mean that I'm happy with them, because they used to be a company that would bend over backwards to help you, but it's not them anymore. They pretty much make you fight tooth and nail to get anything from them. You know, the way they act, if they give you a phone, they make you think that they're going bankrupt. You know, we all know that they have things set in their business that they know that not every phone's going to work, so they just write it off on their taxes, so they're not losing anything. But they kind of make you feel like they're going to be on the food stamp line if they have to give you a few phones or an iPad, which is not even the case. They have more cash than most companies have, most of the companies in the United States. So, you know, I don't want to hear the poor mouth thing. So, but like I said, had a good day. We'll see what happens. And if you have problems, you got to fight with them, or they'll just make you throw your hands up in the air and give up. And I'm not that type of person. So, like I said, good day, and we'll see what happens from here. Later.